Welcome. We're glad you're here for meeting one of the Research to Practice pipeline. This is a year-long process designed specifically for doctoral students who are developing the skills to translate research into practice, a core competency for scholars in early childhood education and other professions. Throughout the year, we'll walk through a sequence of products that all stem from one research article. Each meeting builds your ability to communicate research effectively to practitioners, families, policymakers, and the broader community. Today's session will introduce the structure of the Research to Practice pipeline, the expectations for the year, and how each component contributes to your professional development. Here's our plan for today. We'll start with the why the Research to Practice pipeline matters in doctoral training. Then we'll move into an overview of the Research to Practice process, the expectation that you will find a doctoral student accountability partner, how to select your article, and what collaboration looks like across the year. We'll also discuss how social media fits into this process, not just once, but continuously throughout the year. And we'll finish with a look at the final set of products you'll create: a podcast, blog, webinar, presentation, and finally, a practice article. Let's begin with the purpose of this work. The Early Childhood Education Institute was created to promote research and the dissemination of recommended practices in early childhood education. The Research to Practice pipeline helps us do exactly that. If you're not an early childhood major, don't worry, because this skill set applies to anyone. As doctoral students, one of the most important skills we develop is the ability to translate research into clear, actionable guidance for practitioners. Understanding the clinical implications, meaning what practitioners should do differently because of a study, is essential. This process also builds your CV and professional visibility. It strengthens your scholarly identity and helps you practice explaining research to real-world audiences. Ultimately, this work ensures that strong research does not sit on a shelf. It gets into classrooms, centers, and communities. Here's the year-long process. You'll begin by selecting a peer accountability partner, someone who will go through this journey with you. This process works best when you find another doctoral student who is equally invested in growth, consistency, and high-quality work. Next, you will select one research article. This is the article you will use all year. We will then move into a series of dissemination products, starting with your podcast, then your blog post, followed by a webinar, then a conference presentation, and finally your practice article that you will submit for publication. Throughout the year, you'll create social media posts that highlight the clinical implications of your article and route people back to the original research. We will also meet with faculty collaborators twice during the year to guide and refine your work. Every step builds intentionally on the one before. The first step is selecting a partner. This process works best when you identify another doctoral student you trust for both quality and accountability. The two of you will meet weekly throughout the year. Set a consistent meeting time, and yes, send a recurrent calendar invite. Use your meetings to share drafts, exchange feedback, and track your progress across the pipeline. This weekly structure helps you stay on track in a thoughtful, manageable way. Once you've chosen your partner, confirm your weekly meeting time for the full year. Create a shared folder where you can exchange drafts and resources. Decide how you'll communicate if a meeting needs to be rescheduled. Email, text, GroupMe, whatever works for both of you. Having this structure in place early sets the tone for the entire Research to Practice experience. Your next step is selecting an article. Choose an original research study focused on birth to 3 or preschool or your area of study, ideally published within the past 3 years. Your goal is to identify the clinical implications. What should practitioners do differently because of this research? Those implications are the foundation for every product you create this year. Complete the graphic organizer hyperlinked on this slide to help you break down the study clearly and systematically. And remember, you will use the same article for your podcast, your blog, your webinar, your conference presentation, your practice article, and all of your social media posts across the entire year. Across this year, you'll meet with your faculty collaborator twice, once early on and once later in the process. These meetings should have clear, measurable goals: identifying content for your social media post, narrowing the focus of your podcast, identifying potential practitioner conferences, reviewing early drafts of your practice article. Always bring work to these meetings. Even partial drafts give your mentor something concrete to help shape and strengthen. Social media is woven throughout the entire research to practice process, not just a single assignment. Your role is to share the clinical implications of your article in clear, accessible language and to route people back to the original research. This helps practitioners understand what they can do differently while also increasing the visibility of the study and the researcher. Use strong, evidence-based statements that are easy for practitioners to understand. For example, shared book reading increases toddlers' expressive vocabulary. Use professional visuals, keep the message concise, and avoid emojis that undermine professionalism. And remember to tag at LSU Early Childhood Institute so your post can be amplified and shared with a wider audience. Here are a few professional readiness questions to keep in mind as you begin this process. Do you have a LinkedIn profile? Do you have an ORCID ID connected to your LSU email? Is your CV live and updated on your website? Do you have a Google Scholar profile? Are you featured as a graduate fellow on the ECEI website? And most importantly, are you actively building the scholarly identity that aligns with the career that you want? Before we meet again, please select your research article, contact the researcher and schedule 2 meetings for the year, complete the graphic organizer, begin drafting early social media posts, create your Canva for Education account, and please review the help script for creating presentations in Canva. And come to meeting 2 ready to record a short sample podcast introduction. Thank you for being part of the Research to Practice pipeline. We're excited to go through this year-long journey with you and to see how your work evolves across the Research to Practice sequence. Please bring your article and your completed organizer to meeting 2, and we look forward to jumping into your first dissemination product, your podcast.